To get started with Sprite Diffusion, you're going to want to go to Edit, Preferences, Extensions, Add Extension, and then select the file that you're going to want to install the extension from. In my case, I already have it installed, so I'm just going to click No, but you would want to click Yes here. So the first thing you're going to do after installing it is go to Setup Stable Diffusion Environment. It's going to ask you to download a few things here. These are all free, and you can get each of them individually. After you have them downloaded, you're going to need to check requirements. In my case, you can see they're all found because I have them all installed. If, for some reason, this doesn't find the requirements, please restart your computer and try again, because sometimes it just needs that restart to get everything properly set up. Once this returns all requirements found, you can continue down here, read some of the little options here. This is just a little bit of information saying it's going to need full trust to run the script. Basically, this entire extension runs off of command line interface, so it will need permission for every script that it runs. If you have less than 6 gigabytes of VRAM in your GPU, you're going to need to check this box. An easy way to find that out is to open up Task Manager, go to the Performance tab, and then look at your graphics card here. It will be the dedicated GPU memory. In my case, I have 12 gigabytes, so I don't need to check this option. If you want to run on the CPU only, that may be because you don't have a graphics card or your graphics card has less than 4 gigabytes of RAM. Just check this. And if you have a 10 series or a 16 series GPU, this may be required. These settings can all be changed later at any time via the Help menu. So then you're going to click Install Script. Now, I'm not going to do that because I already have it installed, but it will take a good bit of time depending on your internet connection. Once that's done, you can just close everything out. Now, there is also an Sprite Diffusion Help section here. This is just a quick way of looking through, figuring out how things work, and it clarifies a couple of errors that are pretty common. The out-of-memory error happens when you try to allocate more memory than you actually have on your system. That can happen because you try to generate images that are too large, or you haven't properly checked the optimized mode or the CPU mode. Black box happens when there's an error with something called half precision, and basically it just makes a flat black image or a green image. This only happens on 10 series and 16 series GPUs. That's why we have the checkbox. This is an alternate model that you can download. I don't recommend that if you've downloaded the Pixel model. If for some reason you have an error with the Pixel model, please contact me and we can get that sorted out. Below the general help section is a prompt help section. This is just to give you some general ideas of how prompting works and a special feature in this called prompt waiting. Below that, we have the settings page. This is just a quick way to access those same settings we had in setup. Under that, we have the update option. And this is just a really quick and easy way of actually updating your Sprite Diffusion install. So the way you're going to use this is you'll be sent a new file containing the Sprite Diffusion.asprite-extension, and you're going to want to just click Select File, select that version that you want to upgrade to, or downgrade. You can do that as well. And then once you run this, done. So it updated, and it tells you what file it updated from, and it'll ask you to restart Asprite to load the changes. Now, you don't necessarily have to restart. You can go into Preferences, Extension, Asprite Diffusion, and then disable and enable it. And that will refresh the extension and all scripts. Now that we're past some of that setup and help things, I'm going to show you how to generate some images. I'm going to start with 64 by 64. We'll use text to image to start here. These are the default image generation settings. They're pretty good. It creates a fantasy landscape in an ArtStation-ish style. I'm actually going to replace this with a portrait of a youthful, if I can start spelling correctly. So, here we have a portrait of a beautiful fantasy fairy with a mountain landscape in the background, face centered. These last two are just to try and help guide the AI in basically where we want the focus to be. Now, below this prompt, we have the width and the height. I advise sticking as close to 512 by 512 as you can. That provides the best results. Down here you see you can go down to 256, but this will usually create very poor images. Below that we have steps. Really I wouldn't advise going much above 50 for any of this. You can go all the way up to 200. That'll just take longer. Scale refers to the CFG scale. And that basically, it changes the contrast of the image and how closely it tries to follow the prompt you provide it with. Typically stick between values of 5 and 15. Going much higher or lower doesn't really have any effect. The seed is just the random generation seed that it will use for the initial conditions. This is how you can duplicate images to test out different variations of the prompt without changing the whole thing entirely. Palletize image is a special script of mine that uses something called k-means color quantization, and that just is a way of creating an automatic palette and restricting the colors of the image. You can make images tile seamlessly in the X and Y directions. This is very helpful for game assets or other things like that. Resize will resize the image to the canvas. That's pretty straightforward. Now, this is specific to the pixel model version, but if you apply the pixel art trained model, it will always resize the width and height. That's just due to how the model was trained. So in this case, a 512 by 512 image will be reduced to a 64 by 64 image. We also have a help file here, just running down some of the qualities of the different scales. All right, let's generate the image. And there we have our beautiful fairy in a mountain landscape. Now, if you're not quite happy with how that looks, obviously you can change it on your own, do some of your own pixel art work here. I personally like using text to image as a starting off point for larger drawings. Another thing you could do is you could just run this again. And there we have another fairy. I actually really like the wings on this one, but obviously you can keep generating images until you're happy. Now I will show off a bit more of text to image here. So we'll make a new file that is 128 by 96. Text to image, and in this case we'll do a log cabin on a lake. Dramatic lighting. Sunny day. Mountains. These different modifiers at the end here are basically just saying, hey, make this, give it dramatic lighting on a sunny day with mountains. Pretty straightforward. These can be very handy for just getting the different compositions that you want. We'll actually put the size here to about 124. 1024, that is. And this size to 768-ish. Larger images will take longer to generate. And in some cases, you may have to switch to CPU mode if the size isn't supported by the VRAM on your graphics card. And there we have a log cabin on a lake with mountains in the background. Pretty crazy, huh? I actually really like this image. From here, I'll show off a bit of how image to image works. So we'll make a new file, 64 by 64. Now for image to image, you want to have one layer, or at least the content you want to use has to be on one layer. I'll grab some colors here. This is just going to be a very simple composition. Shift that over a little bit. So make sure all of the content you want is on this one layer. Make your selection. Go to image to image. And in this case, we're going to say a photo of a soda can on a table. Put the generation size back down to 512 by 512 or somewhere around there. It really doesn't matter a whole lot. It rounds to the nearest 64. We'll put the steps a little bit higher for this one, right up to around 50. Strength is specific to image, and it basically means what percentage of the original image will be converted to noise. So in this case, we're replacing about 75% of the original image. You can use that to say essentially how close to the original image you want it to be, or how much new content you want it to be. We'll reduce the number of colors back down to 24. Image to image typically takes a little bit longer, and that's because it uses a different sampling method. It's not a huge discrepancy, but it is slight. And in this case, we are doing more steps. There we have a soda can on a table. So with how to install and use the extension out of the way, I'm going to show you how to uninstall it. It differs slightly from other Sprite plugins, where you can just go to Preferences, Extensions, and then uninstall. In this case, we actually have some back-end systems that we need to remove first. So you're going to click Uninstall Sprite Diffusion Backend, and then Confirm, and click the OK button. Once that's finished, you'll get a pop-up giving you instructions to continue, but essentially, after that's been uninstalled, you just go to Preferences, Extensions, Sprite Diffusion, and uninstall. And that should remove all the files associated with the extension. If you have any further questions, or there's something that I didn't cover that you think I should, drop a comment or contact me on Discord.